Translation. Sri Sukadev Goswami continued, when the king of the elephants was describing the supreme authority without mentioning any particular person, he did not invoke the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra and Chandra. Thus none of them approached him. However, because Lord Hari is the super soul, Purushottama, the personality of Godhead, he appeared before Gajendra. Responsibly, please. Sri Sukadev Goswami continued, when the king of the elephants was describing the supreme authority without mentioning any particular person, he did not invoke the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra and Chandra. Thus none of them approached him. However, because Lord Hari is the super soul, Purushottama, the personality of Godhead, he appeared before Gajendra. Purport. From the description of Gajendra, he apparently was aiming at the supreme authority, although he did not know who the supreme authority is. He conjectured, there is a supreme authority who is above everything. Under the circumstances, the Lord's various expansions, such as Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Chandra and Indra, all thought, Gajendra is not asking for our help, he is asking the help of the Supreme, who is above all of us. As Gajendra has described, the Supreme Lord has various parts and parcels, including the demigods, human beings, and animals, all covered by separate forms. Although the demigods are in charge of maintaining different aspects of the universe, Gajendra thought that they were unable to rescue him. Harim vina naiva mrityum taranti. No one can rescue anyone from the dangers of birth, death, old age, and disease. It is only the Supreme Personality of Godhead who can rescue one from the dangers of material existence. Therefore, an intelligent person, to get free from this dangerous existence, approaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not any demigod. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.20, Kamaishtaishtar hita jnana prapadyante nidevataha. Those who are unintelligent approach the various demigods for temporary material benefits. Actually, however, these demigods cannot rescue the living entity from the dangers of material existence. Like other living entities, the demigods are merely external parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's transcendental body. As stated in the Vedic mantras, Sa Atma Anganyanya Devata. Within the body is the Atma, the soul, whereas the various parts of the bodies, like the hands and legs, are external. Similarly, the Atma of the entire cosmic manifestation is Narayan, Lord Vishnu, and all the demigods, human beings, and other living entities are parts of his body. It also may be concluded that since a tree lives on the strength of its root, and when the root is nourished with water, all the parts of the tree are nourished, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original root of everything. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is difficult to approach, he is very near to us because he lives within our hearts. As soon as the Lord understands one is seeking his favor by fully surrendering, naturally he immediately takes action. Therefore, although the demigods did not come to the aid of Gajendra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead immediately appeared before him because of his fervent prayer. This does not mean that the demigods were angry with Gajendra, for actually when Lord Vishnu is worshipped, all the other demigods are also worshipped. Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied, everyone is satisfied. Yata taro mula nisechanena tripyanti tatskanda bujo pishaka prano parachcha yatendriyanam tataiva savahan achuteja. As pouring water on the root of a tree energizes the trunk, branches, twigs, and everything else, and as supplying food to the stomach enlivens the senses and limbs of the body, so simply worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service automatically satisfies the demigods who are parts of the Supreme Personality. Bhagavatam 4:31-14. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped, all the demigods are satisfied. Sri Shukadev Goswami continued, when the king of the elephants was describing the supreme authority without mentioning any particular person, he did not invoke the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra and Chandra. Thus none of them approached him. However, because Lord Hari is the super soul Purushottama, the personality of Godhead, he appeared before Gajendra. Om Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Teshitarne Vanchakalpa Tudasta Kripa Sindhavyevicha Patitanam Purindu Vaishnavevyo Namanha. As usual, when I'm giving class, I like to get one of my favorite books out. It's probably not considered Shastra, but it's the dictionary, because we have a Vedic dictionary, Sanskrit dictionaries as well. Srila Prabhupada mentions them. I have Collins or the Oxford, I can't remember which one it is. So I had a look at this word demigods. Well, actually, no, I looked on the internet. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit more modern. I looked on the internet. Demigod, a mythological, because we can discuss the word mythological, but a mythological being who is part divine, part human. Part divine, part human. Quite a good definition, actually. Of course, we understand Krishna is not part human. Definitely not. That cannot be applied to Krishna. Avajananti mammuda manushim tanamashuntam parambhavam ajanantu. Krishna says, those who are foolish. Prabhupada sometimes uses Sanskrit and other times he says, in common language, foolish. Those who are foolish, they think Krishna has taken a human form. Kritavan kila karmani. How's that going? Thus Krishna and Balaram, they played like human beings. They played, and again the word manushim, they played like human beings. They appeared like human beings, but they're not human beings. Very important to understand Krishna's transcendental position. Bahuni me vyatitani, janmani tavicharjana. He says, many births you and I have taken. We've all taken many births. But can we remember them? Can we remember where we left our car keys? Right? Can we remember our births? But Krishna says, I can remember all of them. Srila Prabhupada says, that's because when we change our body, we forget. Actually, even in this lifetime, we're changing our body, therefore we forget. But Krishna doesn't forget. Ajo sampya avyatma. He says, although I am unborn, Ajo, and though I am the Lord of all beings, still I appear every millennium in my original transcendental. Srila Prabhupada says, by his own energy. By his own energy. Krishna appears by his own energy. He's not dependent on someone else, unlike the demigods. Janma karma chamaydivam. How can Krishna just be an ordinary man? How can Krishna even be equated with the demigods? If you understand his birth and activities, you don't take birth anymore. So how can Krishna take birth? How can Krishna be? This is what they say. Krishna is just a great man taking birth. But if we understand Krishna, we don't take birth. So how's that possible? You can't get from worshipping someone, you can't get more than they've got, right? If I'm not rich, I'm not going to make you rich. So don't ask me about making money. All right? Daivi esha gunamayi. Krishna says, very simple. This material energy is difficult to overcome. Surrender unto me, you can overcome it. So how can Krishna be a man like us? How can someone have such wonderful activities? Very simple. Vedaham samatitani, vartamani charjina, vivishyani tabutani, mamtu vedana kastina. He says, I know everything, past, present and future. But nobody me knows. Krishna doesn't forget. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, also in the Upanishads. Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya, Satchidananda Vigraham, in the Gopala Tapani Upanishad. So clearly, all through every page, practically speaking, Krishna is supreme, right? Practically every page of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's Matak Paratanam Nanyat, Aham Adya Hi Devan. I am the source of the demigods. Practically every page, Krishna is the supreme. Isn't Maya strong? That people can miss that. Isn't she so strong? And we all know that. We don't have to question how strong Maya is. When we're a young devotee, we sometimes think we got it sussed, but after a few years, we begin to realize how impossible it is to overcome Maya. It's the nature of being young, isn't it? We're going to take on the world. We're going to take on Maya. But what a... lofty vanities, right? So Krishna doesn't forget. He doesn't forget his position. But the demigods forget. They forget themselves. You ever hear the expression, I forgot myself? Right? That's what we've all done. We've all forgotten ourselves, right? I forgot myself. The other day I went on my computer just to upgrade a patch, to upgrade something. And then it wouldn't work. And I spent 3 hours doing nothing. Right? I got carried away. You know that expression? I got carried away. That's the mode of passion. I'm going to fix it. I'm in control. Got carried away. The computer was in charge, right? So I sent a few horrible emails to the people in charge of the software. But I got carried away. So that's the nature of passion. We get carried away. And when we get carried away, we lose perspective. So the demigods also get carried away. Why? Passion. Because there's no such thing as pure goodness in this world. There's always some passion. Right? There's goodness, but there's a little bit of passion, so they have that tendency. So Indra got carried away. He sent all the storms and forgot who Krishna was. Brahma stole the cowherd boys. He got carried away. Shiva got fooled by Vritasura and he had to be rescued by Vishnu. So all the demigods forget themselves and get carried away. Srila Prabhupada gives that example. Gold handcuffs. Oh, you've got iron. Oh, you've got copper handcuffs. I've got gold handcuffs. I'm still handcuffed, right? Not that I'm criticizing the mode of goodness. If anyone's got any mode of goodness, give it to me quick. Right? Even a bit of passion's useful sometimes, isn't it? You ever find you're a little bit down and you're really, I don't know what about you, but sometimes when I'm really down and I think, oh dear me, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do my devotional service because, I'm not pure. I just think, Hare Krishna, and I chant like anything, and I say, Krishna, I've got all these material desires. If you want to satisfy them, you can. I get a bit of energy when I do that. All right? I think, Krishna, I want this, I want that, I want that. Hare Krishna. All right? And so sometimes passion can be useful. Of course, I leave it up to Krishna, whether he satisfies them. But at least we can be honest and lay our passions before Krishna, not to imitate. So golden handcuffs might be a big improvement for us, but at the same time, looking down from the top of the mountain, looking from the absolute mode of goodness, impure. And therefore the demigods get swept away, just as I got swept away by the computer. We get swept away by our mind. And Srila Prabhupada says this material, you've probably noticed this material world's like an ocean. When you're in the ocean, you get hit by a wave and you think, oh, got through that one. And as you got through that one, another one knocks you down, right? Sometimes we find that we get one form of sickness and then something else comes and we just get to another problem. Something else hits us from this side. And we're still surprised it happens. Why did that happen? I thought I got it sussed. So it's Bhavasagar, ocean. I was actually reading how difficult the ocean is. I remember years ago my father he told me he knew one of the three people that were... There was one in the World War II, there was a famous ship that we sank, which the Allies sank, the Bismarck. And there was a fight, there was a battle of Denmark Strait, and there was one ship, Hood, and of 1,500 men, only 3 lived. It took a direct hit from the Bismarck, and my father actually met one of those fellows, one of the 3 people who actually survived from 1,500. That's a material world. And even if you weren't killed and you went over the side, you had 2 minutes to live. That's how long you have to live in the ocean. It's not a nice place, right? It's so cold. A lot of the North Sea, if you go in, you haven't got, you've got 2 minutes before you die from freezing, unless you're well south. And even then, what chance have you got? Even if you're a good swimmer, I can swim the channel, right? Put you in the North Sea, put you in Denmark Strait. What chance have you got? Nothing. I'm a powerful swimmer, right? I won the Olympics. What use is it? So what use is all that strength in this world? So even the demigods, what are they? Srila Prabhupada gives the example, if you're in the ocean and you see a dog going, but dogs swim naturally, right? I've never seen a dog that doesn't have to swim. You throw a dog in, it just starts swimming as far as I know, right? From my experience, right? So you're swimming in the ocean, you see a dog go past, and you hang on to its tail. I mean, it might be able to swim itself, but as soon as you go on its tail, is it going to do any good, right? You'll drag it down, probably. So Srila Prabhupada said, taking shelter of a demigod is like holding on to the tail of a dog. Back to dog-eat. So Srila Prabhupada says, bubbles in the cosmic ocean. How can the demigods give you anything? You can pray to the demigods for, Srila Prabhupada is what you say. You pray, if you want good health, you pray to the sun god. If you want a nice wife, you pray to Shiva or his wife, right? But those things are temporary. Even the demigods are temporary, so let alone their benedictions. Hiranyakashipu is asked he asked Brahma, please make me immortal. And Brahma says, sorry mate, no can do. I live for only 311 trillion years. So he couldn't give the benediction. So the demigods can't actually give us benediction. Srila Prabhupada, actually sometimes the demigods are called Amara. Sometimes they are called. Because there's different, looking up from our point of view, they're deathless. Looking from Vaikuntha, they're not. So sometimes they're called Amara, deathless, because we get that word martyr from that. Amara, martyr. Srila Prabhupada does say in one place, he says, Lord Brahma and Satyaloka, Lord Brahma and his associates actually do, at the dissolution of the universe, they go back to Vaikuntha in the self-same bodies. So that's why they're sometimes called Amara. They actually go back to Godhead. I suppose it's the same as a devotee in one sense, almost the same as a devotee. A devotee, it's like lightning. When they die, it's just like lightning. It's over. So Srila Prabhupada in another says paltry demigods. Paltry. It's a really demeaning word. It's a very British word. Paltry. Paltry. Paltry, it comes from the German word. I think it's German anyway. Someone can correct old German, so I don't know. Paltry, it means rag. Rag. The ragged demigods, right? They're not even material. They're frayed material. They are material, but they're material. They're frayed material, right? Paltry, meager. Of course, we don't disrespect the demigods. But Srila Prabhupada sometimes takes that point of view. Absolute point of view. Paltry demigods. Dismisses them. And what's it say? If you think they're equal with Vishnu, what do we say? Pashandi, atheist. Oh no, you can't pretend, I believe in God. No, Prabhupada says, atheist. Atheist. Srila Prabhupada mentions in one place, he says, it's that bit about Vyasadeva when he was upset because he'd not given the pastimes of Krishna and he was feeling disheartened. In that section, Srila Prabhupada says that the problem with this understanding of many gods, it leads to pantheism. Theo, God, pan means many, so many gods. Or pan means everything, doesn't it? Is it not many? Polytheism means many, but pan means nature, I think, universe, everything's God, everything's God. And he says the result is you get thousands of different sects preaching this, and they're all avoiding devotional service, which is the only means of delivering us. That's the problem. That's the problem. And it leads to Mayavadi philosophy. It leads to the word here is nirvishesha, not directed to any particular person. Actually, we're very lucky, actually. I was just thinking, it suddenly struck me when I was reading it. It wasn't when I was preparing for class, but it suddenly struck me. If Gajendra had that determination to find the Supreme Person, he didn't know who he was, but he had that determination. And what happened? Because Krishna is the Purushottam and the Super Soul, then Gajendra came. So that's sort of like reassuring. That means if we have that sincerity, right? If we have that clear aim, we want to go to the Supreme, he will come to us and we'll find out who he is. And we've experienced that. He reveals himself to me. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki. So when we desire, Krishna takes the curtains of Maya away. It's very easy for him to do that. And therefore we come to devotional service, and that's Buddhi Yoga. Karmashtaishwarti, what Prabhupada says, they're unintelligent. The worship of demigods, unintelligent. Unintelligent people accept temporary things. Oh, I like this, I like that, little things. I remember I went to, where did I go to? Gran Canaria once. I went to Gran Canaria. I was very ill in Christmas, and I went out to try and get my health back. And I was shocked. In the supermarkets there, everything they sold was like tacky. You know what I mean by tacky? Everything was low class. The clothes were all polyester. There were everything was completely low class. Right? So for someone who's transcendental, this whole material world's tacky. So Buddhi Yoga means things in perspective. There's two mistakes. Two mistakes we can make when it comes to logic. We can make equal those things which are not. So we make the demigods equal with Krishna. Problem solved, right? Many gods, problem solved, all equal. Very simple. Or we can differentiate when there's oneness. Just like we do in this world. Oh, you're this colour, you're that colour, and we start differentiating, right? Without connecting with people, getting through the differences and seeing we're all equal, the soul. And that's not such a hard thing. It just means listening to people. That's all it really takes, being present for people, listening to them, connecting, having the philosophy and applying it in our lives. That's all it takes. So sometimes we differentiate when there's one. We do that as devotees as well. You're this type of devotee, you do that kind of service, I do that kind of service, right? We don't appreciate it. So there's always that danger. We either make equal when it's not, or we differentiate when there's one. And in this case, it's very, very serious. Srila Prabhupada's very serious about this. It's caused havoc to say the demigods are equal with Vishnu. At the same time, I just read the other day, and I can't find where I read it, but Prabhupada says, if we make a distinction between Vishnu and Krishna, that is offensive. If we make a distinction, then they're one. All the forms in Narayan are one. And to make a distinction is offensive. On a higher level, there might be distinctions, right? We go to Krishna. Krishna's got more qualities than Narayan. That's on a pretty high level. Are we on that level? So if we make distinctions, we could actually be making offenses. I was thinking about it. I was feeling a bit validated by that, because I was actually criticized when I started teaching Hinduism, because when we're teaching Hinduism in schools, we talk about Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma. And we very clearly say Brahma and Shiva are the contractors. You know, Narayan gets them in to sort of make a universe and destroy a universe. So we make it pretty clear. But still someone was criticized, saying, well, you're presenting Trimurti, Vishnu. You should be presenting Krishna. But what's the big deal? They're all equal. I mean, it's nice to have Krishna, but it's no really big deal. If we start making a distinction too much, we could be committing offenses.
We're called Vaishnavas, right? No, I don't want to be called a Vaishnava. You complain, change the terminology. No, we're Vaishnavas. So we have to be careful when to make distinctions, when to separate, and when not to separate. That's wisdom. So the problem is this modern Hinduism, muddy thinking, muddy, cloudy thinking, all mixed up. All mixed up. Of course, again, clear thinking, there's nothing wrong with worshipping the demigods if it's done in Krishna consciousness. Rukmini was praying to Ambika. Gopis were praying to Katyayani, but they did it to get Krishna. So it's not that we have to deny. We don't have to deny the demigods. We respect them. But we see them in perspective. We don't make them all over the place. And the problem is this idea, and I couldn't understand it for many years, because when I was a student, we loved to interpret things. We loved to come up with our own ideas of philosophy. But it's quite simple. If I say to you, I need some water, right? If I say I need some water, and you don't hear what I say, right? Bring me some water, and you don't hear what I say, then you'll say, what did he say? What did he say? You'll start interpreting it, right? I said, bring me some water. Oh, it looks like he's got a bit of a sore throat, or he looks a bit thirsty. You can start interpreting, right? But if I say, bring me some water, and you start saying, no, he means milk, and you bring me a cup of milk, or worse still, gin and tonic, right? I'm not going to be happy, right? Even milk, even if you say it's better, I think this is better. No, it's not better. I want water. I don't want milk when I've got a bad throat, right? Just see how foolish and arrogant and offensive it is. Offensive to a person. If someone's asking you for something, you ask them what it is. It's just human. You ask them, what do you want? And you give it to them. It's just normal human relationships. Right? Similarly, if I start flattering, someone do that. Oh, you're a wonderful devotee. And you say, Prabhu, I've got these little difficulties. And someone says, no, you're such a nice devotee. And this is flower shop, right? Everything's nice in the flower shop, right? You're such a nice devotee. No, I want you to deal with me. I've got difficulties. Don't elevate me falsely, because it denies me. So similarly, to flatter someone, to put them in a position higher than they are, is an offense. It's an offense to the demigods, let alone Krishna, to put them higher than they are. Just as it is offensive if I flatter you and put you at a higher position. Of course, we appreciate what's in someone else, and we look at the good. That has to be real. Have you ever noticed, flattery is not real. Real's, I see you. I say, you've done this good, you've done that good. I accept you've got this challenge. Let me help you with that challenge. But let's look at the positive. Let's look at the negative together. Let's just look at the truth. But flattery, it's all, nice face, bad face, duplicitous, two-faced. So ultimately, worshipping the demigods is two-faced, or if you worship Brahma, four-faced, I suppose. Right? It's duplicitous. It's not the exact truth. And why is it duplicitous? Because they want some sense. When we want sense verification, we're duplicitous. It always clouds us. That's why it's so difficult being a devotee, right? So difficult. We have to deal with our material desires. I want to serve Krishna, but I've got these desires. They're very difficult. The Srila Prabhupada did say, I don't know if it's true, but did Srila Prabhupada say the demigods are lining up to join this movement? To take birth in this movement? Fifth canto, he said they're joining up to... In one sense, demigods means anyone who follows the rules of God. And demon means someone who disregards the rules. So the demigods queuing up. And how does that help us? I was just thinking, what's the relevance to us? It can make us resolute. It can make us resolute. When we know Krishna is the Supreme, we can be resolute. Like Arjuna, when he was not knowing where to fight, right? You ever find you've got something to do and you're not resolute? Shall I do it? Shall I not do it? You can't get strength, right? But when you're resolute, so it can make us resolute. We can go to him with our desires, like I said. Don't bother going to any demigods. If you find you're overcome by desires, at least give them to Krishna. You're in the right place.
Even if it's not pure devotional service, sometimes we're dishonest. Oh, well, a pure devotee doesn't have material desires, therefore I don't have material desires. Okay. No, give them to Krishna. Whether he wants to satisfy them or not, he can satisfy them. It's up to him. And it means we can be intelligent in our view of Krishna consciousness if we understand this. Why intelligent? Because intelligence, again, means to see things in perspective. When you have a picture, the important things at the front, right? That's perspective, right? You find when we're fanatical, we get things out of perspective. Little things become very important, right? I catch myself doing that. I make little things very important and I'm forgetting about the big things, right? Sometimes we criticize the devotee for doing a little thing wrong, yeah, but am I doing the big things? Am I following the 4 regs, right? And I'm criticizing some small thing. That's not perspective. It's not wise. So Krishna is in the front. But it's not there aren't any demigods. The demigods are there, the living entities are there, the material world's there, we're there in the picture. Krishna's at the front. That's the difference. But we don't want to fall into this pantheism thing where we just stick on the faces of everyone, on the demigods, and it just becomes a complete mess. All right? We want the picture with Krishna at the front. We know the demigods. We can preach about the demigods. We don't deny the demigods. We can preach Hinduism if we want, purified Hinduism, the correct view of Hinduism, right? Krishna's at the front. The demigods are his parts and parcels. Ishvara Parama Krishna. And if we start thinking they're all equal, we won't get the picture. We won't see the picture. We might have been framed by Maya. All right. Any questions, please?